The mix of feedback was pretty 50-50, I believe. Most people were talking about the same exact points, which was stuff that we were already kind of aware of. It just really, I guess, kind of took something in our brains to like really hammer that stuff in, especially the player communication. And just in general, not really knowing how to use QR readers. That was something we didn't really know enough about before, that people don't realize you need to be fairly far away from the QR reader in order for it to actually register. So we're coming up with solutions on how to make sure people know how to use those.
How are you feeling with this?
I already had
about
that.
a month left.
Yeah, but I was kind of
I'm feeling really good.
I don't know how to
game's
put it
in a very good place in my opinion.
I know how to make that.
We need a lot of art, we need a lot of sound, but
put it
in terms of the game actually being functional, we're really good. So,
like portrayal.
I feel like no matter where we get, I'm gonna be super proud of the team because we've gone as far as we have.
Oh gosh, like as an animator, I mean, I would love to just animate so many things into the game, minus like, you know, the idle animation attack. I'd love to just have like a reaction to the boss attack. If the player gets knocked down, you know, that kind of thing. Like there's just so much I would love to have as an animator, but due to time constraints and just what's being asked of us right now, we have to unfortunately cut some animations here and there. So our main priorities right now are just the idle animation and the attack animation for the player cat. Because we ran into some hiccups with the boss cat, we do have to make that a main priority for all of our animation too. So I would love to see more animation if we have the time for it, say once we get all of our main priorities and tasks out of the way, but for the time being, no, you know. And that just comes with the animation pipeline, honestly. You know, you're gonna make some stuff that is gonna be really great and you're gonna wanna do more, but you know, time limits and, you know, crunch just are part of that. And it's unfortunate, but I think it's a good learning experience for everyone who's going into the animation industry to learn and kind of experience.
All right. So from the user testing, the huge user test this past week, how is the art progressing since then?
It's progressing pretty well. One of the best things to come out of our game that was commented a lot during that test was the art, and so because of that, David really wants us to lean a lot into the art element of our game. Yeah. And so because of that, we do have a lot more tasks ahead of us that we have to get done for the art team. But this is overall going to enhance the experience. It will give us a lot of opportunities to experiment with more art tools. And overall just make the game look really, really good.
So when you say experiment with more, what do you mean by it? Like, what are you experimenting with?
So one of the things that we get to work with is obviously Photoshop for animation, but now we're being asked to work with more like After Effects for some animation and things like that. And not everyone is familiar with After Effects, but it's a great tool to have, especially if you are an animator. So for that, it's really nice to experiment because you can do so many things with After Effects outside of just normal animation. So
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a great tool to have.
Anything art related at the moment? I'll admit I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now, but that's just because we have a lot we have to do in a short period of time. But kind of like I mentioned earlier, I'm fully convinced the art team will be able to pull it off. Just gotta crunch down a little bit, really work on it, but we're going to get this done and it's going to look great. Everything else has looked great so far.
So, how's the feedback from the art standpoint from the huge playtest?
So, one thing we've realized, well, the feedback overall was really good. Everyone seemed to really like the art, and it was consistent throughout. But one thing we definitely need more of is feedback to the player when you cast a spell. So, after talking with Ashton and hearing a bit from David, we need a lot more animation in the game, and so that's what I've assigned out today, and it's going to be a lot. I feel like we're definitely in crunch time right now, so I'm a bit nervous, but I know the team is fully capable of it. It's just a matter of trying to get everything in on time.
Is there anything in the game right now that shows the player that they cast a spell, or does it just happen?
There is. It's all temporary though, like not colored or stuff that you can make in Unity, so we definitely need to refine it and make sure it actually fits within the game.
My name is Austin Splodge, and I am the main sound effect and music guy on the team. Working on the sounds, never making sounds before, has been an experience to say the least. It's definitely a lot harder than I thought it would be. Makes me have a lot more respect for people who actually do it, because I have no clue what I'm doing. I've never opened up an audio program in my life. So trying to figure out how to get all that stuff into a game and making sure we have sound effects for every single action throughout has definitely been tougher than I thought it would be, but it's fun and it's something that I'm glad I'm getting to get experience with for the future.
So how are the sound effects for this? Because we've heard about the music before, but what kinds of sound effects have to go into this experience?
So much more than I thought there was going to be. Never really done sounds before, but there's so much more than I thought there was going to have to be. We got to have sounds for everybody scanning in, every single time anything happens in the game, every attack, every movement basically has to have a different sound for it.
And how many different movements are there that translate into sounds?
We got the boss attacking, warming up to attack, taking damage, just basic like idle sound effects for the boss. For the players, we have to have them scanning in, their elements attacks, when they take damage, when they're blocking, when they're attacking. You have to have scans for or noises whenever people scan in their attacks, and whenever the scans don't go through, you have to have music for whenever 1 player, 2 player, 3, and 4 are all in the game.
So not only do you have to have sounds for like actions that are performed, you have to have sounds for like preparing for those actions so they can feedback for the player.
Every feedback every feedback that you have visually, you have to have auditory as well, basically.
Got it.